question. Do you think you were a spoiled child or not?
I was not very spoiled, but then I always wanted it my way, you know. I would pout, and if nothing else worked, I would use the water trick. And
The water trick, I like that. So it was Ash's way or the highway, was it?
Exactly.
Because every parent has heard the phrase, but all of my friends have one. It's a tough argument to hear, and saying no to something that will make our kids happy isn't always easy.
But our next guest is here to tell us why spoiling our kids could be a shortcut to an unhappy home. Carmen Benton is a parenting expert at LifeWorks Dubai, and she joins us now. Hello, Carmen.
Hi.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So why don't you join in and start off by telling us what biscuit you are?
Well, coming from New Zealand, it would have to be an Anzac biscuit.
Okay.
That's my biscuit.
Okay. So are you convinced with that one, Tom?
I like it. Yeah, that's good. Good cosmopolitan flavour. This time of the year, Carmen, is a time of the year when parents despair to a certain degree, because children have put on their little list of what they want, and it's usually about 3 pages long or something like that, and a parent goes, oh, what can I give without spoiling, overindulging, which I suppose is the first question. Where do you draw the line between overindulgence and spoiling, or is it one and the same thing?
I would say it is one and the same thing. I think there's another word, and it's pampering. So we could be pampering our children, overindulging them, spoiling them. All of these things are coming from us giving them what it is that they want, when they want it, regardless of waiting, just because they want it. And yeah, there's just many words for that same experience.
Now, nobody wants to raise a child spoiled, or at least consciously they wouldn't. The problem is, I don't think most parents admit to the fact that they spoil their children. So do you think it's a lack of awareness? Do parents always know if they're spoiling the child or not?
Well, I really do believe that we are overly loving our children through spoiling them. I can't believe that any of us would be doing it to harm our children in any way, but I believe it is harmful to children to spoil them, to overindulge them, to make them have that sense of you can have whatever you want whenever you want it. We're setting our children up to become an adult one day. And so we have this short period of time in their life where we have all this opportunity to give them the lessons that they will need. And certainly it's not helpful in our adult life to believe we can have whatever we want without any form of hard work to get it.
Where do you think this is more common? Because mostly people come of the opinion that it's usually when you're when you're the only child that you tend to get spoiled. But I've also read a very recent article in which it says women, mothers who have a child very late, tend to spoil the child because, I mean, after a lot of trouble, they've finally got a baby, and they tend to sort of cherish this miracle by giving it everything that it could possibly want. So in which of these categories do you think children are most likely to get spoiled?
Well, I have an only child, and I had him a bit later, so I think both of those things are me. I truly have felt from experience that you can love your child without spoiling them. And you can want them, and you can cherish those moments with them without overindulging them as well. And I truly hope that I'm doing that to the best of my abilities with my own son. However, what we're talking about here is that giving your children a sense of self-worth. Is your self-worth driven by what you have, what you could have, what you want, or is it about who you are? So we could spend all of our time with our children really helping them connect with who you are. What's your level of self-worth? Is it really determined by what you have or what you want?
So how do we do that? Is it important to set limits for your children?
Yes. So children need limits. They need boundaries. They feel secure with those limits and boundaries. The best thing we can do as parents is be very consistent, kind yet firm. Be consistent with our kids, and then they get the right message.
And what about the argument that, you know, people might have a little more money at the moment? Is money the issue here in terms of, well, we can afford it at the moment, might as well overindulge them a little?
See, I think, once again, it's okay to give children certain things, because many of us struggle with this desire to give our children that very thing that we wanted as children. And so we can be kind of undoing a little bit of our own past hurts, perhaps, and bringing that out in our parenting with our children. Yeah.
That's why all my kids are getting the action man with the wobbly eyes this year.
There you go.
Never got it. I never got it. Always wanted it.
Now, what you see with certain families is that, at least in a middle-class family, when you have a long list, it's considered to be a luxury. Whereas kids who come from the upper class or who come from a big income family, for them, certain things that are given to them is not considered to be luxury, it's just their basic lifestyle.
Sure.
Do you think when kids from a middle class background hang out with kids from, you know, the upper class, there will be this feeling of she's got it, I don't, he has a bicycle, I don't?
And you know, I think absolutely, and even the upper class people would still be wanting something that they haven't got. The point is, we probably all have many wants, and we all would like a lot of things. But does that bring happiness? Does that bring fulfillment? Does that really help set you up in life to be able to get those things just because you want them? I think we have a muscle. It's a disappointment muscle, it's a frustration muscle, it's a desire muscle. We have these different parts of us that need to be worked. A little kid who is frustrated or desperately wanting something, if we don't give it to them, then they get the opportunity to feel what it feels like to not have everything that you want. They've worked the muscle, it gets strong, so by the time they become an adult, they've had a chance of working it.
To find out more, get yourself onto Carmen's website, lifeworksdubai.com. Some great advice, especially this time of year. So Carmen Benton, parenting expert and personification of the Anzac biscuit. Thank you so much indeed for being with us. Some great advice, and have yourself a great holiday period.
You too. Thanks very much
for joining us.
Thank you.
Right.